A very warm welcome to Dodgers Trips, and I'm here on Towngate in Wyke. There's 3 pubs on Towngate. The landlord of the Bottom Odd has invited me to have a look around because they've had a refurbishment and they've also uncovered a little bit of history. So we'll see what there is to look at and maybe tell you some stories about the pub. Are you ready? Let's go to the pub. Right, so when you first come in the pub, you're in the bar area. So I suppose this would be called the tap room, would it? I'm not a great pub goer, so you have to excuse me, but the pub, as I say, has been refurbished. I think they've spent the best part of the last 12 months off and on, room by room, giving this pub a really nice makeover. So we'll have a look around first before we get into like the history side of things. So in the tap room we've got the 2 fires. We've got one here covering this side of the room, lovely big TV above the fireplace, and on the other side of the room got another big TV above the fireplace and another open fire log burner. So I can imagine winter months it's really cosy to come in here, take the chills away. But all this seating, all the nice padded seating, it's all reflected in the bar stools as well. The wood theme from the fireplace continues round to the bar, and the front of the bar here is all this lovely, I think it's called a herringbone pattern, isn't it? We've got all that, and then a lovely curbstone as a footrest. You notice a plaque here on the bar, and it's to Steve Lovell, who was a much loved regular of the Bottom Odd, who passed away this year. What I like particularly is the way the walls of the pub are dressed, right mixture of things of interest. We've got this little cabinet of curiosities, got a frog walking up a wall for some reason. And what's this? Is this an old frying pan? But with the holes in it, I just wonder, I don't know. Maybe somebody knows what that specific purpose of that pan was. And on the walls as well, you've got the advertisement for upcoming events. Looks like they have a Blackjack Sunday, and there's also going to be a Christmas party on the 6th of December. Shenanigans at the Oddfellows Hall. And these lovely old photographs of the Bradford district. Old bus going to Buttershaw there. I noticed these as I walked through the door. Old betting slips for William Hills and a ton of pens. What a good idea of the landlord to think of putting the betting slips in the pub. No need to waste drinking time going over to bookies and filling out your bets, work out your selections while you're in your pub, and you know, keeping warm. We've got some antlers on the wall here, selection of books which I guess are just for decoration. Coming around, some more shelving with curiosities. What I like is when you come in a pub, when you sit down there's plenty of stuff to look at, and there certainly is here in the Bottom Odd. No, I'm Spartacus. This is remembering a lady called Emma, always loved, never forgotten. So from the bar area, there's 3 steps up. That brings you into the snug. You might be thinking it's very quiet in the Bottom Odd. Well, I'm here before opening time, that's why. So I feel a little bit more comfortable doing the filming, and obviously we're not intruding on customers. Huge big screen on the back wall. Again, that pattern of curiosities, got like a scooter, Italian scooter there, an owl reading a book. Got some spectacles on, and again some lovely photographs photographed framed prints that you can look at of the olden days. Big fireplace with TV again above it. Again, more pictures, a lot of them of Wyke, photographs that I remember. And we've got an old photo of the bottom odd itself. The old delivery truck there, reversed up into the yard. Think of that. There is a picture of the halfway house, no longer in existence. But halfway house was possibly one of the first pubs in this area. Another rival pub, long gone. This is the Robin Hood, back around the turn of the 20th century. The old Wyke Library, built in 1958, and Wyke Station. So much Wyke history, long gone. Right, that's our look at the snug then, that beautiful snug. We'll go and take you outside, we'll have a look around the beer garden. This is the outdoor seating area, the beer garden for the bottom odd. Quite a large open space. Tell you what, there's an extended bit just up the steps as well, so I suppose when it gets really busy or if they've got do's on, you can open up this further extended decking area with tables and chairs. I think there's like a little bit of a stage up there, so I know they have live music from time to time and DJs. So yeah, that'd be really nice to sit out in summer here. So you don't need to worry about finding somewhere to sit at the bottom odd. Reminds me a little bit of the TARDIS. So much bigger on the inside than what it looks like from the street. So that way is the delivery portal. We've got a delivery coming in this morning, and that's where the old truck was parked on that old photograph that we saw earlier. There's a sign there, Thursday's quiz night, and that's ongoing, is that? So you can come down on a Thursday if you fancy taking part in a quiz. There we are, very nice outdoor seating area. Even got a sausage dog. How good is that? Matthew, who runs the pub with Sian, his wife, contacted me through my Facebook group and told me about the original stone floor that they'd uncovered during the refurbishment. And it sort of piqued my interest. I thought, oh, I'd like to go have a look at that, because he was dating it to around 1803. I think he's got a friend or a relative who's into the history, and it was him who'd come up with this date. This floor, it took some uncovering. Matthew was saying that there was various layers. There was asphalt, there was carpet, there was more asphalt, and there was wood floorboards over it before they got down to this original stone floor, which is really nice, and it fits in with sort of the old worldy feel of the pub, with like the wooden decor, the curiosities, the old framed pictures on the wall, and the open fires. So it all adds to that lovely ambience that there is at the bottom odd. Matthew was saying that they've had this stone specially treated, they've had it polished, so it doesn't stain, because he was saying beer and stone don't go well together, and you know, within no time, being a busy pub, the stone would have started to look unsightly. So yeah, 1803 was then this relative or friend of Matthew has sort of dated the stone floor too, so I can quite believe that. An interesting artefact that they uncovered when they were revealing the different layers of flooring, about 4 or 5 different layers of flooring before they got down to this beautiful stone floor. They uncovered an old Bradford telegraph and Argus, And in a nice touch, the frame that have kept it as part of the history of the pub. What makes this particular Telegraph and Argus quite poignant is that it's from November the 8th, 1939. So Britain had been at war for only 2 months. War was declared against Germany on the 3rd of September 1939. So you can come in, have a read and see what we're making the headlines for Bradfordians 2 months into the World War. It mentions coal rationing, for example, as one of the headlines. So come in and have a look. Interesting little bit of history. What I would be interested in finding out, if anyone's able to tell me, is when did this building become a public house? The reason I'm asking is that I've been looking at old maps of Wyke from 1850 and also 1900, and on both those maps this is not marked as a public house or an inn, where the Brown Cow and the Halfway House is definitely marked as licensed premises. Also in the Bradford trade directories, there's like a post office directory from about 1861, 1891. There's only 2 innkeepers on Towngate. We know the Brown Cow was marked as a public house, and we know the Robin Hood is marked on maps. So they were the 2 licensed premises on Towngate up to about 1900. When you look at all maps of Wyke, especially this part of Towngate, behind the bottom odd, there is no buildings until you get down to the Halfway House on Huddersfield Road, and that is stood on its own as well. There's no buildings either side of it. So it was just fields, literally fields. It was only between 1850 and 1900 that the fields of Wyke turned slowly into streets, and we saw more and more houses built for workers. By the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, there would have been an increase in population and enough people to warrant further pubs on Towngate. So this is my assumption, is that the bottom odd has become a pub when those houses have started to be built either side, behind and across, all the terraced houses that were built during that period. So yeah, let me know if you know anything more definite. I was in communication with another person who used to live in the bottom odd, and we're going back to 1962. This lady called Jan was a 9-year-old at the time, and it was her mother and father who moved into the bottom odd, and said in 1962 it was in a right state. It was needed a lot of cleaning, a lot of tidying up when they first moved in. Mum and Dad were called Jack and Marjorie Watson. They only stayed in the bottom odd a short while, a year or 2, before they moved on to the Red Lion, which is now the Wyke Line at Hellfire Corner. But Jan remembered this area, the Snug, has been the tap room back in the 1960s. So maybe somebody could say, has she remembered that correctly? I mean, she was 9-year-old, so who knows. It'd be interesting to get some stories though from people who frequented the pub, or know the fathers who went to the pub during that era. Get a bit of a better picture of what the pub was like at that time. Now, she did have a story about a father, and one night he tried to throw a group of customers out. They trapped him in this passageway between the Snug and the tap room, and they beat him up. She said he wasn't badly beaten, but not a nice thing to happen. Perils of the pub trade, I suppose. Yeah, so Jan, as I say, she was a 9-year-old when she lived here at the bottom odd, and she told me that she had a pet mouse at that time, but her mother wouldn't let it into the pub, wouldn't let it into the house, and she made for herself a cage for this mouse, out of an old beer crate, and she used to keep it out in this backyard. So somewhere in here was Jan's mouse house. And she said she used to walk up and down Towngate with this mouse on her shoulder. Mouse used to go for a walk with her. But there's a sad story to this mouse's tale. Mouse tale. One day she went out back to feed it and the mouse was gone. Jan reckoned someone had stolen it, and she said for days afterwards she would walk up and down Towngate trying to look for her pet mouse. Almost reminds me of that episode of Basil Fawlty, doesn't it? Fawlty Towers, where Manuel has a pet rat and it's let loose in the hotel when the hotel inspectors come in. But yeah, that's a little bit of history, a little bit of a sample of life in the Bottom Odd in 1962. We'll come back into the bar room again, back into 2025, and this lovely looking refurbished Bottom Odd. I hope you've enjoyed that. Come down, you might find yourself becoming a regular. But I'd like to thank Matthew and Sian, the landlord and landlady. Is it still landlord and landlady in these days, or has the pub industry gone all PC? Is it land person? I don't know. We'll call them landlord and landlady. But thank you, Matthew, thank you, Sian, for letting us come round and see a little bit of history, a little bit of local history here at the Bottom Odd, the Oddfellows Hall. But everyone knows it as the Bottom Odd. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you wherever the next trip takes me. Till then, Dodger and out.